Hi, this is Steve Harper from YourCreativeLife.com, talking today about Zoom rooms. I got a question sent to me about Zoom rooms, how they are, and whether they're here to stay. And does that mean that writers like you, if you don't live in New York or Los Angeles, does that mean that you don't need to move to New York or Los Angeles? So I've had experience both in Zoom rooms and in person rooms. Most of my jobs on the 6 or so shows that I've been on have been in person and live. And I have to say that it makes a tremendous difference to be live and sitting next to people. I was in a Zoom room for the show Stargirl for 2 seasons, and the room worked really well. We were very functional. We got a lot of work done. We wrote really excellent scripts. And I thought we were very organized. Our showrunner had a good vision about how he wanted the room to go, and things moved really smoothly, and we all got along, and I think created some terrific television. That doesn't mean that it's the perfect solution. And of course, everything depends on who your showrunner is, because every showrunner is an independent thinker who runs his or her room in a completely different way. I happen to now be in, or before the strike, which we've been on strike now for about a month. But before that, I was in an in-person room for the first time in several years. And it's fundamentally different because not only are we working very hard and very focusedly on particular scripts and story ideas and season arcs and all of that, but we also get the chance to know each other a lot better and really differently. First of all, one of the things that happens in a real room is you get to actually see each other face to face. So you get a real sense of how you are in space, how you move, how you speak, how much energy you have, whether you're tall or short, how you dress, all of those things that are very differently perceived on YouTube than they are, or Zoom than they are on Facebook. It's a different circumstance to kind of be in space with people. And I think you also, in my experience, I've gotten to know the writers who I work with in the in-person space a lot more intimately. You get to hear about their families, their children, their spouse, their mother and father, all of those energetic things that on Zoom you don't really take the time to talk about. I mean, you might have a few minutes of chit chat at the beginning of a Zoom session, but you don't really get the one-on-one time to meet and connect with different writers over the course of a season in the way that you do when you're in person. So that's a fundamental difference. Now, here's the thing. In the Zoom room that I was in, our hours were really short. We were able to work very efficiently in a couple of hours. But in the in-person room, we've been there for 8 hours a day. And really, that's the energy, I think, and the time that it takes to do the work. Now, it's not to say that there aren't Zoom rooms that meet for longer than the Zoom room that I was in, and that is definitely true. But I think there is something fundamental and visceral and different when you're actually sitting there together, when you're going up to the board and writing the words of the story on the board, when you're able to look at videos together, when you're able to go on field trips together, when you sit there and have lunch with people. I think on some level, getting to know each other better in that way actually creates a different kind of storytelling because we have a different kind of intimacy among the writers in the room. This is to say this. For me, in my experience on TV, even though I've worked as a TV writer in New York, being on set for God Friended Me, and I've worked as a TV writer in LA, being on set, I think the truth is that you really get to know people better when you're in person. And that means that there are opportunities to create a tighter, more focused bond with a showrunner, with a writing staff. And I think that in-person rooms are definitely going to be coming back if they haven't already. And Zoom rooms for us in the current room that I'm in have become an option. So if somebody is sick, or if somebody needs to be out of town to deal with taking care of a sick parent, for example, or dealing with a sick child, for example, or not feeling well themselves, they can Zoom in. If you have guest speakers, they can Zoom in. But I think that in-person rooms are probably not going to go anywhere. Zoom rooms are going to be, in my opinion, the way they are with my current show, an option, but not necessarily the norm. And so I think it will be an unusual, special circumstance if a writer's room creates itself or forms without ever meeting in person. Because in my experience, showrunners want the option to, even with hybrid rooms that are, a few days a week on Zoom and a few days a week in person, the opportunity is there to have an in-person meeting, which I think theoretically and in my experience actually might be more productive than talking to people over video chat. So although Zoom rooms may be here to stay as an option, I don't think that that means for most of us, for most of you out there, that you can actually formulate or keep or achieve a TV writing career without moving to Los Angeles or New York. I do think that at least on some grounding, bedrock basis, it's going to be important to at least start a room or have meetings or, connect with writers and other people, employers, producers, et cetera, in person. The in-person space, I think, will always be valuable, even as the Zoom space becomes a good option, but probably not a career-long option. And so there might be pieces of time when you get to sort of be Zoom and back and forth, but I think most of the time, in-person rooms are going to still be a thing, even though Zoom is convenient. But I think, it's also trickier to navigate and a little bit, although, look, I loved being in a Zoom room. I loved like rolling out of bed and being in my pajamas from the waist down and nobody really knows it. I love that kind of thing. I love being home. I'm an introvert, as most writers are. And at the same time, I can't deny that there is a special flavor, energy, and substance that happens in person with writers in a room together, just like actors in a rehearsal room or people together in a church or people together at a concert. It really has a very unique and specific energetic flavor to it that I don't think is going to be replaced by the Zoom room. So the short answer is, I think Zoom rooms will be around as an option, but probably not a way to formulate a career. And you should expect to live, at least for some period of time, in New York or LA. And then hopefully, if it's possible, have the opportunity to have some of your meetings or some of your writers' meetings on Zoom, because that's a good option, but probably not a replacement for in-person work. I hope that makes sense to you and is helpful to your writing process and your vision of you as a TV writer now and in the future. Please like this video if you got something out of it. Subscribe to this YouTube channel and also check out the other offerings that I have on my coaching page at yourcreativelife.com. Check out the free stuff link where you'll find a link to this page, information about the Secret Writer podcast, which is the podcast that I host with Nick Job, who is also a writer and writing coach. And you can sign up for my newsletter, which comes out once a month with great writing tips. And also feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram to get more great information about the writing life. Thanks for watching.